Yeah, and welcome to another lesson. Today is not going to be really a playing lesson. Gotten a lot of questions lately, so I'm going to answer some questions and do a little bit on how to get different tones. Hendrix tone being one of them. People ask me all the time what I do to get it. It's pretty simple, so I'll show you. So, guitars. One of the most popular questions I get all the time. What are your guitars? What model of Fender is it? It's not a Fender. Shh. It's a Bill Nash 60s Strat that my buddy could not stand the look of a blank headstock, so it's a Fender sticker. I've been trying to talk to Fender about it, like, dude, you guys should, a lot of people ask about this guitar, you should make one. They're like, maybe they'll see it. Maybe they'll be into it now. But anyway, so the pickups in the old videos, the single coils have always been the same, and those are Lawler S-Series pickups. Lawler pickups are my favorite pickups. They're just, love them. These are S-Series pickups. So the S-Series pickups, a little bit more output or gain, I guess you would say. I don't know. I don't know all the intricacies of tone and gains and outputs and a little more something, right? Although I am starting to prefer less output pickups, which brings me to the bridge. I had a DiMarzio Tone Zone, one of my favorite pickups of all time. Sick pickup, cheap, probably 80 bucks. Great for Van Halen, rock and roll, sounds amazing. If you only want to spend 80 bucks or so, by all means, DiMarzio is a great pickup brand. A lot of people like Seymour Duncan's. They're all good. I mean, it just depends. I've particularly been a DiMarzio guy, so I like the Tone Zone. They make single coils called HS3s that I think used to be the Yngwie pickups, which are sick. I love those. But these days, and probably from now on, I'm a Lawler guy. I love Lawler pickups. And so I changed the bridge pickup on suggestion from Tim Pierce, my buddy. We've been doing recordings together and stuff, making jam tracks, all that kind of stuff. And he suggested I try a lower output pickup. A lot of times what you're hearing, the tones you like from the past, back in the day, the earlier Van Halen stuff, all sorts of classic rock stuff, the pickups didn't have as much output. So what happens is you get less output, the humbuckers, you don't get the hum, and you also get kind of I don't, want to say open and more stringy sounding, but think of it as there's a lot of gain on your amp and you hit the chord, it's not going to be as distorted, and it's going to be a little bit clearer, kind of more similar to a P90, which is my favorite pickup of all time. So both of my guitars are Bill Nash guitars. Both have alder bodies. Both have rosewood fretboards, and the neck radius is about, I think, 9.5 or 10. The single coils, Strat and Tele, both are the S-Series pickups, although I might change to the lower output because I've really been loving those. But that being said, these are my favorite pickups I've ever had. So now this one in the bridge is a Lawler Imperial Low Wind. Amazing pickup. Super highly recommended. Awesome. It's been life-changing. Okay, so that's the guitars. The amp is a divided by 13 BTR 23. A lot of the videos, I also use another divided by 13 amp. They're both purple, so they look the same, called the JRT 915. The way you can tell is if you can see these silver knobs in the video. The BTR has 2 of them. The JTR has 3. So that's how you'll know what amp I'm playing. I kind of set them both the same, kind of, just a little broken up. Somewhere between that and is always what my bass tone is. I barely ever change any of the other knobs. It's barely on. I mean, it's like at a whisper volume. Bass, I usually run around 4. Mid and treble around 6 somewhere, depending on the guitar. Maybe a little bit more treble. But I like having mids in there. I used to do the mids way back, but I found the more mids you have, the better you kind of get through. So I like mids above 5, somewhere 6, 7, depending on the amp. And the gain, like I said, I like a little bit. I like it to be almost not quite AC/DC, but a little bit of grit. No matter what, I always have a little bit of grit. That's my favorite way to play. Sometimes I will back it off a bit, but I always have a little bit of something on there. A lot of times, the killer Hendrix tones that we all know and love, actually had a fuzz on. The ones that we think are clean had a fuzz on. The amp was distorted, but then he backed down the volume, put on the neck pickup, and magic. So that's a trick. Try that. That's a good one. Gear-wise, I've keep thinning my pedals out. If I usually use an overdrive over a distortion pedal. My favorite distortion pedal, I would have to say, was probably a Wampler Pinnacle. Gets a ripping like 80s rock tone, Van Halen tone. Love that pedal. Awesome. Overdrives. I love overdrives. Wampler makes some great ones. Love pedal. Those are some of the pedals I really like for overdrives. There's Rocket Pedals makes great ones. I mean, even Boss, the DS1 and the old yellow, overdrive pedal they have, those are great. I mean, so full tone, there's tons of people. Right now, I don't have an overdrive on my board. I use boost pedals. So for a little bit, I'll use my amp. For a little bit more, I'll use an amp and a boost. And for ripping, lead and aggressive rhythm tone, 2 boost pedals. The boost pedals are divided by 13 lift and an RC booster. I think it's made by Exotic. Yes, Exotic Effects. The RC booster is like a boost pedal with a little bit more tonal options as a bass and a treble. I keep all the knobs pretty much straight up except for well, no, I'm lying. That's not true. The volume pedal or the volume knob is on about 1. The gain knob is on about 9. I always have the gain low on all my pedals. Around between 9 and 12 is max for me. The treble's on about 1 and the bass is straight up. So it's almost unity, but it just adds a little something. Check this out. So without anything, sounds like this. With it, just opens up the sound a little bit, right? So the other pedal, the divided by 13 lift pedal, very transparent boost. It's like going over your amp and just turning up the knob a little bit, a little gain knob. Same thing, the output or whatever it's called, the boost is like this. So that's my tone secret. A lot of people like the Hendrix tone. Here's the Hendrix tone right here. So amp set on about like that. Not that much gain on the amp. Of course, when you switch it to the neck pickup, it's going to be less. A little bassier. Hendrix used the neck pickup a lot. Also the middle pickup too. He used all his pickups. He was all over the place, always messing, tone knobs. Like, just watch a live clip. It's amazing. Okay, so that's without a boost. Here's the lift pedal. So not much to it, right? I mean, it's just the amp. I love the sound of the amp, and it just gives it a little bit more. Now, one of the secrets is set more gain than you normally would, and then picking hand. Really use different amounts of pressure. How hard you hit the strings, really light. Check this out. So this is the tone, like a lot of gain. Okay, that's the humbucker, but single coil. But check it out. So that's if I'm hitting it pretty good. I always keep a light grip, but check it out if you hit it soft. Right, so if you vary the attack of your picking hand, you'll get a huge array of tones. That's one of the things I want to stress in this video. This is what's gonna make you sound like you want to. And at the end of the day, I was in Nashville a while ago, went and saw one of the local favorites, this guy Jack Pearson, Squire Strat, I think, one maybe like TS9 or I don't know, whatever the Ibanez Tube Screamer-ish pedals. And I don't even know what the amp was. It was nothing special. Freaking religious experience, because he had the nice. He got it out of his hands, right? He could vary the dynamics with this hand and with this hand, and kept the connection with the string, and just really zoned in on this, right? If you can channel your emotions into your hands and really connect emotionally with how you're playing, 9 times out of 10, that's really what you're looking for. And then no matter what you play out of, it's going to sound pretty good, right? So the gear, obviously I got expensive amps or whatever, but I used to work there, so I built it. I didn't pay that much for it. I bought it. That being said, I did buy the amp, but I built it. So and they're my favorite. I love these amps. They're just amazing. Every single one of them is killer. But I just really like them. They work for me. Marshalls are great. Fenders are great. There's all sorts of boutique guys. There's Friedman. There's all these people. They're all great. It's just whatever works for you and whatever your taste is. Find out what kind of style of amp you like. Is it like a Fender or a Vox or a Marshall? And then kind of, ask different, when you go to a new music store, I think I like a Vox. What amps do you have that are like a Vox? Go play them. Whatever resonates with you. But at the end of the day, it's this. So, the gain pedals, like I said, I love Wampler, I love Love Pedal, I love Rocket Pedals, there's Boss, they're all good, they're great. Same with effects. I mean, there's so many different brands out there. Boss makes great pedals. They're amazing and they're cheap. But then so does Strymon. So does Way Huge or MXR. They make fantastic stuff. Don't get so hung up on one brand. 2 of my favorite delay pedals of all time are like, I think you can probably get them used for under $100. The Line 6 Echo Park, which I use 90% of the time. There's also one pedal that's like not very many people have, and I don't want to say it, so in case I ever need another one, but the Way Huge Echopus, it's a silver pedal, is freaking unbelievable. Amazing. They're both made by the same guy, George Trips. Research George Trips, find out what delay pedals he did. You cannot go wrong. They're always good. So I use a little bit of delay on stuff. Not a ton. Gives it just a little bit of something, right? That's without. So it just adds like a little space. I like the Echoplex style of echoes, so that's just my personal preference. Pick-wise, I use the Tortex picks. I've been loving this little guy lately. I think it's like I don't know what it's called, but it's a little black 1mm Tortex. I love this Tortex style. I use the thin ones, the medium ones, and the green ones. So yellow, orange, and green. All 3 of them. They all sound different. Different picks sound different. So experiment with that too. Whether it's acoustic or electric, you want to do leads, you want to do rhythm. Try different picks. They all sound different. For a cheap effects pedal, I use a M5 Line 6. Thing's freaking amazing. It sounds great. I mean, most of the effects are amazing. The only thing I would say that I am wanting more from is the Univibe sound they have. It's okay. It'll work. I mean, it sounds pretty good. And the rotary speaker, which I think my favorite one from that is, I forget what it's called. It's called a Ventilator. That's the best one I've ever heard. And then after that, the Strymon Lex for that rotary speaker thing is sick. Awesome. So I use those. I use a Lex sometimes. Don't use it anymore, but it's in the Mobius too, which is great. The other pedal I have on my board, so right now it's the RC Booster, the Lift, the Echo Park, the M5, which I don't use very often, honestly, but when I need chorus or something like that, it's amazing. The pedal's $120, brand new. Amazing. Sounds awesome. And the Strymon Flint. Love that pedal. It's 2-in-1. It's a tremolo, which is an amazing tremolo. And also, it's a reverb. Incredible reverb. One of the best pedals, for that reverb tremolo thing that money can buy. I mean, I don't know if any other pedal has reverb and tremolo. But they're side by side, so you can use them both at the same time, right? So you got... Let me clean it up a little bit. So... I use the spring setting a lot, spring reverb, like what's in an amp. the... Maybe pick... That's another thing to mess with, right? The Gary Clark Jr. fans out there, a lot of that sound is what happens when you combine, in his case, fuzz with reverb, right? And depending on how much reverb you're putting in there, can drastically affect the distortion sound. So sometimes, or Stevie Ray Vaughan or some of the greats like that, right? The sound that you're trying to get isn't just the pedal, like the overdrive pedal, it's the reaction between reverb and the fuzz, or TS9 style, well, not Hendrix, but Gary Clark Jr., Stevie Ray Vaughan. A lot of them use fuzz, and then with some, some type of Fender amp, and then reverb, and it sounds amazing. So check that out. Try that. But for a rock and roll tone, man, I mean, 9 times out of 10, that's it. It's my amp and either the RC booster or the divided by 13 lift pedal. Wish it was more than that. A lot of times when I use the 915 amp, I also have, there's an Exact Tone Solution, another fantastic pedal company. They also build really cool pedal boards and stuff. So if you want to, up your game and get a pro, designed pedal board, they make awesome stuff. They're out of Nashville, Exact Tone Solutions. But they have an overdrive called an Imperial Overdrive. They have 2 pedals coming out. The overdrive that's coming out, kid you not, probably the best overdrive I've ever heard in my life. I'm going to try to sneak a demo when I'm out there next week and play it. And maybe just kind of like, I don't know what this is, but it's awesome, and I'll tell you what they are when it comes out. Great pedal. And then they have another one that's kind of like an EQ-y thing that they're coming out with. It's amazing. But another cool pedal that's not on my board, but that I'll show you later, they have a Boss EQ, and they modify the EQ, and I swear to goodness, a Boss, I think it's 7-band EQ, and they charge like $30 or something to modify it, is probably one of the most radical, distortion overdrive pedals you can imagine. It's sick. So try an EQ pedal. Sometimes just an EQ pedal, you bump the gain up and kind of jack with the frequencies a little bit, can be an incredible overdrive. Anyways, so here's how I stack the pedals. So this is a lot of times what you hear. It's just the amp and the RC booster. I want a little more than that, I'll add the lift. So 2 boosts. Maybe add a little reverb. See, it does a little bit to the sound. How it reacts with the boost pedals, I love it. Without it. With it. Right? So it's pretty simple. Boost pedals are awesome. It's definitely something to try. But again, the Hendrix tone is very simple. Mild distortion, little bit of a boost, neck pickup, can't go wrong. It's going to sound good. I mean, it's kind of how Hendrix did it, right? He had Marshall, you know, kind of distorted. Neck pickup, there's not a lot to it. It's how a lot of it is this and how you attack the strings and how you play with dynamics, loud, soft, all that kind of stuff. Plus, if you know his, you know, tricks and how he actually played, it's again this. Hendrix would have sounded like Hendrix through a crate amp, but you know, it's just it's you know, look at him play. I mean, he's freaking, or Stevie Ray, they're connected with their instrument, and I think that is 90% of the tone you're really searching for is this connection, this whole thing. So pour the emotions into it. Get yourself psyched up. Have fun. Play, and if you're pissed off, like, take it out on your guitar. Don't go on the internet and be like, you suck. I'm just restrain yourself. Come back. Like, okay, I'm mad, or I'm sad, or I'm freaking so happy I don't know what to do, and I'm driving everybody crazy because I'm too hyper. Go play. Just freaking tap in. It's an amazing experience. One other thing. A lot of times what you're hearing is, you know, a whole studio chain of stuff, right? Never forget that. A lot of the tones that you're hearing, how the guitar and the bass marry up together in a track, or everything. Sometimes there's buried keyboards. You barely hear it. Makes the guitar sound huge. There's amps. There's the mics that they mic the amp with. Different mics sound different. There's compressors, there's EQ. By the time the freaking thing comes out, it might not even sound like the amp that was in the room. So never forget that piece of the puzzle, the studio. They do a lot of stuff in the studio. So that's part of it too. Here you're hearing, I have a mic out kind of, you know, like 3 feet away from my amp, MD409 or 509. Picks up sound great. So that's kind of what you're hearing too, is how the mic is picking up the sound in the room. So don't ever forget that as well. One last thing, if you're still with me, you're freaking awesome, and you might not have ADD like me. But thank you guys so much. You guys are amazing. The support for the people who buy the products, you make all this possible. And even if you don't, and you just comment and you keep in touch, man, I love that stuff. I try to answer every comment that I can, and I never forget or do not appreciate what you guys do and all the awesome stuff you say. It's awesome. You guys are just freaking so cool, and I'm stoked to be able to do this for a living, and it's because of you out there. So tell your friends, share the videos. If you can't help financially or whatever, and you're wondering, you're like, I want to do something, share the videos. That's freaking awesome. Post it on Facebook or Pinterest, or I don't know. There's so many I can't keep track. That's a big thank you. I would be stoked if you share the stuff. That's awesome. If you get some value into it, to pass it along. Let your friends. Then you guys can have a jam session, right? You guys both learn some stuff. You're like, okay, sweet. I know how to play this rhythm. You do the lead. Okay, sweet. No, you do the lead. It's awesome. If everybody played and jammed, the world would be a much happier place. So let's start with that. You guys are amazing. I'll catch you next time.